What's up everybody, F-Baby here. Sorry about the delay in getting this video up. I had crazy technical difficulties yesterday and Wednesday, as well as podcast recording to do, so it was just busy. Go check us out, Streaming Wasteland on all of the major socials. Everything should be good to go now. So today we're looking at part 2 of our flipping. First up, let's take a look at our motif flips from last Tuesday. As you can see, I sold a few pieces for less than I paid for them. This was a listing error. I was in a hurry and used the default price, which is fine if we'd bought them at a discount, but since we were trying to make a certain amount, it ended up costing us. The good news is that they sold, since that proves we were bang on with our strategy. Since then, several other things have sold, but I wanted to stay honest. It doesn't really help anybody to not show failures. Anyway, this week I want to touch on monopolies, quote-unquote, of an item in ESO. That word is in big quotations because outside of a couple incredibly rare items, you can't control the entire supply of a good in ESO, and therefore you don't really have a true monopoly. Additionally, what we are doing is not technically monopolizing the entire market, but monopolizing a section of it, and we'll get into that in just a moment. You can buy up every copy of an item and relist them for a higher base price. A couple things to keep in mind about this type of flipping. Firstly, you need to have a sense of how much you want to spend. It can be tempting to go buy all of the polished vampiric desk plans, there are currently 8 on TTC, and relist them, but then you're out about 9 million gold, and you're waiting to recoup that money, which means you have 9 million less to spend on other things. Secondly, like I mentioned in our last flipping video, you want to target items with less than 40 listings, ideally less than 30, with the lower the total listings, the better. This ensures that you're able to get most of the available supply without breaking your bank. Finally, have a price in mind that you're going to be selling your flipped items for. I'll discuss this further in a moment, but with very rare exceptions, you don't want to buy up every item on the market. This is because there are people out there who just list things at an absurdly high price, and we actually want to keep those in place. Actually, let's just dive into it right now. Identifying the right target for monopolies can be daunting, and I have an example here in this video, but let's do hypothetical for now. We'll look at Pyre Watch helmets. We look at the listings and see that there's 1 for sale for 80k, 3 for sale in the 65k range, and then several listed at prices 40k or below. If we were to monopolize these, we'd want to leave that 80k listing in place. That is our current cap. Then, doing some quick math, we can look at the 3 that are 65 to 69k and calculate that 20% increase on price would bring us to right about 80k mark, if not over. So we probably want to leave those alone, as we're not going to make much and we're not standing out. That leaves us all the listings below 40k. There's 15 listed on TTC, some of which may already be sold. Again, quick math is that 20% of 40k puts our profit price at about 48,000. This means that if we bought everything at the 40k mark and below, we could list them all for 48,000 and be the cheapest on the market. But why stop there? In this scenario, we're buying up all the cheap supply and we're going to make some money. So let's say that we're going to sell them all at 55k. This is now a little over 30% profit on our 40k buys and almost 100% profit on some of our cheapest. The last question we have to answer is cost. While you can go and add up the specific exact numbers you're spending and get the exact amount of gold it would cost to buy all these listings, we'll use some shorthand to make things easier. Our most expensive purchase would be 40k, so let's just do 40k multiplied by 15, which brings us to a total of 600,000 gold. If we were to sell all of them at 55k, we would end up at 880,000 gold for a profit of 280,000. Not the craziest amount, but it's not bad either. We know that we're actually making more gold than that, since several of our pieces are cheaper to purchase. A couple quick notes here. I frequently use quick math because we are not running an actual business. Additionally, I don't have much patience for adding up the 1s and 2s in a game where you're talking about hundreds of thousands of gold. Therefore, I just use quick math. Secondly, I do want to note that yes, I could turn on ad block on TTC, but I'd much rather get this guy some ad money. I use the site so much, and so this is my way of making sure that he gets something for that. Anyway, to end this hypothetical example, you would end up purchasing our 15 target motifs and then listing them at our new price. People searching traders or using TTC would then see that we have the lowest price, and in theory they would come buy our motif and not any of the pricier ones. Of course, if you wanted to get really greedy with it, you could buy up those other 4 listings and relist all of the helms for 100k each. I'm just generally more risk adverse than that, and I like using the current high prices of an item to work in my favor. Walmart makes a ton of money even though you can buy most of their items elsewhere, and that's because their price is the cheapest. Anyway, when I started filming and scripting this video over the weekend, I was originally going to use Ice Reach Coven legs, as there were only 3 on TTC, with one of them being priced way higher than the others. But since this video took so long to come out, I ended up buying and selling those for a profit. You can see that here. I decided to do a fresh Monopoly on Monday. I bought up all the Bloodforged shoulders under 40,000 because, as I mentioned in Rule 3, I decided to sell them at 45. But then I hit technical difficulties, so I decided a new target was in order. So here in the video, you've seen me buying up Ancestral High Elf belts. The Ancestral pieces are almost always in lower supply because they require antiquity skill, treasure maps, and a desire to actually go get them. I picked Ancestral High Elf belts because it was the first one I came across with low supply. Following our process from above, I first looked on TTC, how many are there for sale? The answer was about 25. There were several listed for over 100k, which is what I set as the cap, and then I decided that 85k is what I would sell each one for. This means that 68k would be my purchasing cap. I broke it for one item, but whatever. Then I went and bought all the ones under 68k and, like I said, one for 70k. I decided I would sell them at 85k, as I mentioned. You'll notice that I don't list them all at once. You want to drive some scarcity as well. This makes your listings look more attractive, and it makes people more likely to buy yours if there are fewer on the market. If you figure that we bought 11 of the 25 listings, with a few already having been sold before we got there and a few being in the 100k range, this means we control well over half the market, and by reducing the list count from 25 to 13 or less, as people buy at our new higher price, we can leak them back onto the market as we see fit. As a side note here, if you find yourself in a situation where you are sitting on these motifs and somebody has gone and bought some of the 100k ones or the 113k ones, feel free to relist at a higher price. There's nothing stopping you from listing for higher. The object is in demand and you have the object. So there's no reason to not make more money if you think it's feasible. Again, this is just the safest and most basic way of doing it. Now, I wasn't expecting to say this, but in the time it took me to refill my coffee after doing my listings, one of our belts already sold. It's always nice to see a plan start paying off immediately. Anyway, that's all there is to it for monopolies. I know I covered a lot. Let me know if you want me to go deeper on this in the future. I mentioned in Wednesday's video that I would talk about rehoming in this one, but this already went crazy long, so we'll talk about that next week. Once again, thank you so much to my subscribers. If you found this video useful, think about giving it a like, and if you want to see more content around making gold in ESO, don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in the next video.